Good morning. So today we're going to make drawings like elementary school crayons. First, we're going to add a custom view. We're going to go to layout and you can make any tag you want. We're going to make the view tag. And when I hit enter, it says, hey, one of these widgets needs a width and a height. Match the width. And then for the height, I want to put 0 dp. dp means density independent pixels. Android will scale pixels to the density of the screen. The higher the density, the bigger the dot would have to be consistent, so it's the same size. But in this case, the 0 dp makes it special in that it allows to space everything equally if weighting is used in this layout. You can set the weight. We also need to constrain it because we're inside a constraint layout. Top to top of parent, we will do left to left of parent. It's simple. We should probably give it an ID just in case. We'll ID Android ID plus, and we'll call it draw view. So there's its name. That makes the view, except it doesn't have any behavior. We're going to go back and add a behavior class to it. Oh, got to spell class correctly. Now this is where you have to pay attention to what your package name is. So I have to go back here to main activity and look at my package name. There's my package name in this case. So I copy that because otherwise it won't come to this directory and find the class. So it's a string, so I put it in dot, and then I can call it anything I want. It's my custom class. But it says it's red. I can't find this class. As you can remember, Alt Enter. Yeah. I want to create the class, and bam, it already says it's already broken. You need a constructor. All right, this is the one I found. In the past, this wasn't required, but I think the last year or two, it's now required. So you have to set it to this one. And now we have a working class. That's not going to do us much because it draws nothing, pretty empty. Because this is a custom view. Notice that they automatically extended view for you. So it copies everything in view. And now we know that, boring. So what we're going to say is, hey, whenever the image is no longer accurate, Android automatically calls the onDraw method to redraw the screen. So in this case, we can say canvas.draw, and you can see there are many different things you can draw. Rectangles, ovals, and so forth. So today we'll start with a circle. Now here I just left the mouse in the parameters and it popped up parameters for us. But if I'm off it and I don't know what the parameters are, I can Control P. It will give me the parameters. And it says, hey, I want a float for the center X. I need a float for the center Y, a float for the radius, and a paint to draw with. We're going to put in 100, 100, and let's do 10.5, and I need a new paint, so I'm going to just make a new paint right here. Boom, I made a new paint. Now it's going to complain at me. See the 0.5? It says, I require a float. You gave me a double. You can hover over things and see what it is. So now they're saying, hey, you should probably cast a third parameter to a float. So the old way of doing that would be like this. And bam, we're done. We're good to go. The new, more efficient way to do that is just to put F right here. Bam, there we are. That will cast 10.5 from a double to a float for you. At this point, we should test our app. I'm going to run the app, and that you can see it, I'll bring up the display. Here we go. There we go. There's our dot. Its default paint is black. If we change this to a really big number and we run it again, we'll see all bigger. At this point, you should play with it a little bit. Change your numbers around. Make sure that you can see the effects. And there we are. It moved it down for you. Now, let's make another circle. So the fastest way to duplicate a line, Control D. So if you do Control D, duplicates, and then you can change it to whatever you want. Let's make this one 400 for fun. If we want to go and look up what draw circle does, you can Google it And you can look at the API and look at the reference. The shortcut to that is Control B. So I'm going to hit Control B now. Control B brings me to the actual source code. See, a good person writes comments for each of their methods. In this case, it describes what draw circle will do. It tells you what each parameter will do. See, at param. And then for those who remember, Java doc will then turn this into a nice web page for you. Therefore, it defines what each of these parameters are for you. And in this case, the code is pretty boring. It just goes and calls the parents class and passes draw circle and calls draw circle and passes the same parameters up. You can chase down to see what it actually does. In some cases, some classes, you can actually see what the actual code is, and you can like say, oh, that makes sense. I see why we do that. We're back here. Now I want to change the color. To pick up a marker, use the paint class. Gotta be capital. Okay, so remember, its default color is black. Notice that I am picking up the marker right here. I'm setting the color before I do the drawing. Whatever I pick up here will decide the color. The color will be, I'll do color dot, and look, there's a bunch of pre-made colors. I'm going to choose magenta, then I'm going to go Control B. And so here in this class, somebody's made a constant, a static, final, constant, and it's just a number. This number is actually RGB. The first number is either the opacity, whether it's transparent or not, or it's the last number, these two. We can look that up later. Not a big deal. You can pass those numbers in if you want, do custom colors. Actually, let's see if we do ARGB. Nope. AR. Oh, look at that. You can do this, and it's the first number. See, the first number is the alpha, then the amount of red, then the amount of green, then the amount of blue. You can make a custom color here, but we're going to do magenta today. And then we're going to run to see, make sure it actually works. And it's important to do that so that you can see your progress. Hey, what? Huh? It didn't change color. That's a fail. But think about this. We made a whole new pen, marker, whatever, and we set the color. But we didn't use that marker. So if we put that marker in here, then we go run. And again, we'll see it. There we go. See, one, and then the other one we didn't change, so it stays that color. And so don't make this mistake. B.set color dot blue. Oh, black it is. No, that's, there we go. Let's do blue instead. So if we run this, we shouldn't see any changes. No changes, because we picked the blue marker and then did nothing with it. Picking up, you make sure you set the color before you move it. All right, so we added color, we tested, we made sure we made any corrections we needed. Now we're going to use movement. We're going to need some variables to keep track of where we are. We'll start at the top of the screen, and we will give ourselves a speed of 5. How about that? Oh my gosh, this typing skill is horrendous. So we're going to change this y value to y. But in order to see movement, y must change. So we're going to say add dy to yourself. Just in case we go off the screen, let's protect ourselves. So we use modulation. Oh, how do I know what the highest pixel of the screen is? I can use get height, get width to get the width and height of the screen. So in this case, we'll use get height. Now it says, hey, if I'm greater than the height, set me back to 0 and start all over again. But this will only draw one time. If I want to draw this again, I have to tell the Android, hey, wait a minute, the screen is no longer accurate. This view is not correct. What Android says is, oh, I know what to do about it. I'll go to onDraw and run it again. So it runs through. Okay? So notice the inherent weakness of this system. The longer this takes, the fewer cycles or frames per second you're going to have. the faster this takes, the more cycles you'll have. So it might end up going too fast. This is beginner elementary approach to it. And there's our little magenta running away, and it hits the bottom, jumps back to 0, and cycles. If you change the dy, then it'll bounce and turn around. Let's do that. Let's add a button to allow us to turn things around. I do a button. What shall we do with the button? I'm gonna wrap content, and I'm gonna make it height wrap content. We'll put some words in there or something. Let's do reverse vertical. That's what we'll do with this. And since we got a problem here, let's go ahead and extract string resource. We should give it a name, reverse y direction. Because we're in a constraint layout, we got to do constraint, right? So top to, oh no, let's do bottom of view. ID view. We'll connect to the bottom of draw view, and let's do left to left of parent. Now we got a button. Run it just to make sure we have our button. That's cute. There's no button. Let me stick this to the bottom of the screen and see what happens. Bottom to the bottom of parent. Let's make sure that runs and shows up. There we go. There's our reverse verb. So we stuck it down here. What happened was I had made the view go from top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. And so when I stuck it to the bottom of view, I became down here off the screen. Notice that the draw view is actually behind our button. Okay. Now the button has no behavior yet. So we're going to have to give it a behavior. So we'll go on click on method called reverse. Alt enter, and it said, hey, do you want me to create method for you? Yes, go ahead and do that for me. We're in main activity, but we need to access this draw view object. Let's go ahead and declare draw view. And then remember, we have to find that draw view. So after the activity main is loaded, we find that draw view equals find r.id.draw view. Now we have instantiated draw view. We can access it. So we can go here and go draw view dot d. See, when I do dot, I can see all the methods and data fields I have for that class. I can even force it to invalidate it. But we just want to change its y direction. We're going to do times equals -1. And remember, since I left this dy as the public variable, I can access it and change it. And if I made it private, I would need getters and setters. So we'll do that in 1 second. Now let's test this and make sure it works. Okay, so there we go. And there's no protection from the top, but we have our method. Now let's see if we go and protect these variables like a normal smart person. Make them private, whatever. And now we'll need a way to access that variable from here. You can see now it's red. It says that doesn't exist anymore. I don't see it. It's hidden. What we can do is come down here and hit Alt Insert. If I want getters and setters, right? I'll do Alt Insert, and it will generate whatever I need. I can get constructors. I can use getters and setters by themselves. But we're going to use getters and setters. And this is which one do you want to get? I want dy. So bam, it creates them for me. Isn't that nice? That means I have to come back in here and say, I need to set my dy to drawView.get. Oh, whoa, not that one. Get dy times -1. Now I'm going to go to draw view, get the dy, multiply it by -1, and take that answer and set it at its current dy. Run it, make sure it works, and then I'm here. Bam, still works. All right, hope you have fun.